Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I have a collective haul. I didn't realize how many fragrances I acquired until I had to film another haul video, and I was like, oh my gosh, I should have done one prior to this and then another one, but this is going to be fun. We have a lot to discuss, so let's just get into it. Okay, so at the VIB sale from Sephora, I ended up getting a full size of Replica's coffee break. I was really nervous for a second because they didn't have any on the shelf, and the lady was kind of digging through the drawer and she eventually found the last one for me. So that was super exciting because it was sold out online. And I already know how this smells because I wear it to bed basically every night and I'm obsessed with it, but I'll just spray it again. Guys, I'm obsessed with this. This is my favorite Replica fragrance. When I did go in store, I was sniffing all of the Replica fragrances. They had so many more options this year, at least from what I remember. They had Julia Has a Gun, they had almost all of the Jo Malones. They just had a bunch of fragrances, so I was really excited to see that this year. But this starts off a little bit masculine. I don't know why I say that. Maybe it's just because it is such a strong coffee note, and I find it so odd that people don't smell the coffee in this because I am typically anosmic to any and all coffee notes. I struggle to smell coffee in anything, but here it's so potent. I feel like I don't understand how you can miss it. There's lavender in here. I believe there's milk in here. I describe it as a lavender, very creamy, frothy latte, but it's more than that too. So it does have tonka bean, which is one of my favorites, benzoin, vanilla. It has orange blossom, but it also has some deeper notes like patchouli, cedar, and vetiver, which you may think would make this super earthy and woody, which maybe it does. Maybe that's where I'm getting the masculine energy from, but I do feel like some other Replica fragrances are woodier than this. Like, this is definitely one of the sweeter Replica fragrances, very creamy. And so while I said that the opening is masculine, it does get so creamy and warm up to your skin, so I feel like it's easily feminine. I guess you could say unisex. This is one of my top 10 fragrances of all time. I'm so happy to have a full bottle. I'm obsessed with the packaging, and the only complaint I would have is just better longevity. I would prefer if it had better longevity. It is an eau de toilette, which doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna last less than an eau de parfum. It just depends on the fragrance oil percentage that they used. But I have a feeling it's kind of on the lower end or maybe in the middle, but it's still not as intense as an extrait or some other types of fragrances that I have had on my skin before. But I don't care. I don't mind overspraying. I don't mind spraying it multiple times throughout the day because I want to get my money's worth. And sometimes when fragrances are too potent, I feel like it's hard to get through them because you don't need to spray a lot. So then you end up taking forever to use up the whole bottle. So anyway, if I had to recommend one fragrance from Maison Margiela from this Replica line, this would be the one. Okay, I'm just kind of going in random order, but I got Reminiscence is Les Notes Gourmandes Dragée, and it comes in this white bottle. And I also bought Guimauve, which I will be talking about in a declutter video. But anyways, we're talking about Dragée, which is the one I decided to keep. I have a lot of thoughts about this one. It's a pretty linear, basic kind of fragrance. I mean, I don't want to say basic because the almond kind of powdery note I do think is unique here because it's not like Hypnotic Poison, it's not like Poison Girl, it's not like any almond fragrance I've smelled before. It does have that powdered candy vibe to it. Dragée apparently does translate to those Jordanian Easter type of almonds, and I do feel like it smells like that. But besides that, there's just not a lot going on here, and this does not project very far. And so I want to get this out of the way that I prefer strong fragrances. I want to smell it on myself. And I understand when you spray perfume on yourself, just naturally it'll sink into your skin and you may kind of go nose blind to it after a while. But I do have fragrances that don't go nose blind to me, you know, because they're just so intense. And so personally, I'm not a big fan of skin scents, to the point where I'm talking about skin scents where I really struggle to smell it on myself even like 2-3 hours later. And so maybe other people could smell it, maybe it's stuck to my clothes, but just for me, it takes away the whole experience of fragrance for me. And so this is definitely a skin scent. However, that being said, when it is time for bedtime and I want to put on a fragrance, this is one I'll definitely go to because it's not too loud. I don't want to be overwhelmed by the scent while I'm trying to sleep, so they're kind of perfect for that purpose. But this is not something that I would wear on a day out where I want my fragrance to last all day and I want people to smell me, because I don't think people would. And so this is pricier in the States. I got mine from Fragrance X and it was still around like I think $70 because I think they just mark it up for people in the States. I think you're mostly paying for kind of the packaging and the aesthetic. That's how I see it. But personally, I think if you can get it on a better deal, don't spend too much money on these Reminiscence fragrances because I don't think they're anything crazy, anything that special. I think you should probably save for a more expensive fragrance that may or may not last longer, but just might be more unique. And so that being said, it has top notes of mandarin, petitgrain, cardamom. It also has almond blossom, orange blossom, and plum, vanilla, musk, and cedar. And so definitely I'm getting that almond blossom. It's kind of this airy vanilla fragrance, but I can't say I get the cardamom. There's absolutely no spiciness to this at all. So yeah, just wanted to let y'all know that it's not as complex as the notes may make it seem. It's pretty linear. So here's a fragrance that's similar. I mean, they're very different, but it's a similar vibe, but just a million times better. This is Zadig Voltaire, This Is Her, and I wish I got a bigger size of this, but I was reading a lot of conflicting reviews. I did a little poll on my Instagram and people were kind of split down the middle, and I'm surprised because I feel like this fragrance is so easy to like. Maybe it's just the masculine undertones to it, but a lot of people have described this as a soapy fragrance or, you know, just very woody and all this stuff, and I just feel like it's nothing of the sort. This is creamy, it's nutty, it has that chestnut note, which I think is so amazing, and I want to see more of it in fragrance moving forward. I just got a whiff of it and it's absolutely amazing, you guys. Like, this also I think has to be in my top 10. Coffee Break for sure. This one I'm kind of going back and forth about because I have nostalgia about certain fragrances that are in my top 10, but this is just so freaking good. It opens with pink pepper, which is so tastefully done here because I think pink pepper sometimes can be too spicy. I believe it's in Donna Born Aroma by Valentino, and when I wear that one and I sniff it too close, it kind of itches my nose actually. I mean, you know, what do you expect from pepper? But here it's so well blended. It's not an aggressive spiciness. It has silkwood blossom, jasmine. The middle notes are whipped cream, vanilla, and chestnut, and the base notes are sandalwood and cashmere wood. So what I'm getting here is definitely, you know, a little bit of the pepperiness, definitely the creaminess, vanilla, nut, and definitely the sandalwood. So if you like sandalwood, you'll like this. I know a lot of people who didn't like this fragrance didn't like sandalwood, so be warned that it's definitely present here. And Zadig Voltaire has a This Is Her and a This Is Him, I think. There's a male version, I don't know exactly what it's called, but I think that this is pretty unisex. Again, it kind of reminds me of Coffee Break in the sense that they have masculine features, but they're so feminine at the same time. So I think I got cut off talking about Zadig Voltaire, This Is Her, but this is sneaking its way into my favorites. I love the packaging. The minimalistic vibe is everything, and I highly recommend trying this if you haven't already. Okay, next, this is my newest fragrance, so I'm going really out of order, but this is Azzaro's Wanted Girl, and the packaging is a little messed up. I got it from a seller, but I smelt this at Kohl's. I didn't realize Kohl's had a decent amount of options. Like, I never go into Kohl's, but they have some celebrity fragrances, not the biggest availability, but they have some, and they just have options, like stuff that you wouldn't find in Sephora. And so I sniffed this and I was so pleasantly surprised. Okay, it's leaking, girl, because this lady gave me a leaking perfume, I guess. This is a really nice gourmand. If you don't like sickly sweet gourmands and you want something a bit more interesting to it, I think this is the way to go. I mean, it has some really nice florals. It has that pink pepper slash ginger, and I did not like ginger in Olympia, as we know, but I think the culprit of Olympia, I decided, was the salt note. However they did it, I just wasn't a fan. But the ginger flower in here is really, really nice. It's just so interesting, you guys. Like, the pomegranate is the perfect fruit to put in here. It's not too tart or too sour, because I've tried pomegranate in other fragrances where it's too overpowering, but everything in here works in tandem. You have a little bit of the spiciness, like I said, with the ginger and the pepper. You have the sweetness of the dulce de leche and the tonka bean, and then you just have those deeper notes that help with longevity, like the patchouli and the vetiver. This is honestly so well done, a very underrated fragrance. I'm not the biggest fan of the bottle at all, to be honest, but it's stunning. You should definitely check it out if you haven't. Okay, then we have Fiori by Giorgio Armani. I don't have a lot to say about this one. It's just a creamier, powdery version of C. I still think I prefer C because it's just so iconic to me. It's so well done, so elegant. But this is such a nice flanker, honestly. And you know what I don't like about some flankers is that they make it too similar to the original to the point where there's really no point in having both. But with this, it's a completely different fragrance. This is perfect for spring and I can't wait to wear it. Like, I just really want to wear it to a wedding. I think it would be the perfect occasion, like a spring wedding. It's so pretty and feminine. Okay, we have two celebrity fragrances. I have Circus Fantasy by Britney Spears, and this took me by surprise. I did not know what to expect, but it surely wasn't this. It has notes of raspberry and apricot blossom, I think, and fruity notes and musk. Yeah, it has sugar, orchid, peony, and water lily. It also has violet. So let me tell you, this is a floral heavy perfume, but still in a cute, youthful way, because you know some floral heavy fragrances are too powdery and stuff. But here, it's very fresh. It's juicy, but not anything like VIP Private Show. It's so different from the other fantasies. It's nothing like the original in my opinion. But I don't know what water lily smells like, but I'm getting some sort of slightly aquatic note that I feel could be attributed to that. And the raspberry for sure, but it's like a sour raspberry where it's not too tart, but it's just adding to it really well. I don't know, something about this, it just really rounds out nicely. This is a fresh springtime scent. I don't think it goes with the circus theme, like the album, the era. I don't see how it aligns with that. It doesn't give me like circus sexy vibes. It's more like, I don't know, like garden vibes. Like it should have been named something like that. But this is really underrated and I think it's a nice fragrance. If you're an older, if you have a more mature nose and you don't like the sickly sweet gourmands from Britney, I might recommend that one because it's a step back and I think it could appeal to certain audiences better. But then we have Intimate Fantasy, and this is more along the lines of sweet gourmands, which is what I love. It has a lemon note. The first time I smelled this, I was so surprised and I really loved it. It has a lychee note, which I'm usually not a fan of lychee. I don't know if it's lychee or rhubarb. I definitely don't like rhubarb. But I also thought lychee was a fragrance note I didn't like, but I do like it here. I'm not sure if it's the standout note here, but it does seem like there's another fruit besides the lemon that's making it fruity. It has violet leaf, brown sugar, ozonic notes, lily of the valley, jasmine, heliotrope. So these both have lots of florals going on, and I can get that because sometimes when I wear them, it can be overwhelming because there is a lot of florals and musk. But I prefer this one. If I had to tell you, I do prefer this one. Out of all the flankers I've tried, it's like this one and Rocker Femme are my favorites. But I can get that muskiness. I can get the floral, the lemon. I guess the brown sugar is what's making this sweet because there's not really any other gourmand notes besides, you know, the fruits. This is just nice. I mean, I'm glad I have these tiny ones of them because I don't feel like I would use them up or these would be my signatures or anything. I don't have a signature, but I do love having the option of wearing these whenever I feel like it. Okay, next is a perfume that I never thought I would buy. It is Ariana Grande's Cloud. So again, I was at Kohl's and I smelled it, or actually I didn't smell it, well, I sniffed it and then I put it on my clothes because I thought it smelled really nice, but I didn't know if I was getting it confused with everything else. And I ended up really liking it. I didn't buy it at Kohl's. I was checking on Mercari and I found a better deal, so I didn't get it at Kohl's. But this is just nice. This is excellent, actually, but it is a skin scent, and I can hardly smell it on myself after a while, and that's my only complaint. But yeah, I just had a change of heart. I don't know if my nose was feeling different that day. I have smelled Cloud a bunch of times since I said that I didn't like it. I haven't just been blindly hating on it. Every time I'm at Ulta, I smell it, and I feel like it never clicked with me until recently. I actually am starting to prefer this to Thank You Next. It is just sweet without being too sweet. I wouldn't know anything about Baccarat Rouge or anything. I'm not sure if it's an actual dupe. It has lavender and pear. I don't get that heavily. I guess maybe I get somewhat of the lavender, but it's so well blended that it's not like a lavender perfume, you know what I mean? It has whipped cream, praline, coconut, vanilla, orchid. That all sounds so good. Like, I think that's what's making it smell good. Definitely coconut, but not as coconutty as Thank You Next. It has musk and woody notes, and I'm getting like that musk and woody notes, you know what I mean? Like, there's a depth to this that makes it a bit more mature and good for most audiences. So I do think that this might still be too gourmand for some people. Obviously, Ariana's perfumes are marketed towards her younger audience, So maybe an older like person may not like it, but I know tons of older women who are obsessed with this scent and it's one of their favorites. So I definitely have grown to love it. So thank you guys for like brainwashing me into liking it. No, I'm kidding. But like, thank you guys for constantly talking up this scent, because it's what's made me give it so many tries. And now I do really love it. And lastly is Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. This is the most expensive fragrance I've ever purchased. And I didn't get it at the VIB sale because I wanted the 30 ml and they only had the 1.7 in stock when I was online. When it's a more expensive purchase, the taxes do really add up. So I noticed that the 1.7 was just going to be really expensive. The VIB sale was just basically going to take the taxes off, and that just wasn't working for me. So I decided to purchase on Tom Ford's website. He had the 30 ml in stock, and I just ended up not getting a discount, but it was still cheaper, obviously, than ordering the 50 ml. The 50 ml was like $3.50. Yeah. I had to check that twice because I was like, huh? The 50 ml was $350, not within my budget, you know? So I ended up getting the 30 ml, which I think was 200 something. I forgot the price. I kind of blacked out, and I saw it on Tom Ford's website that they had the 30 ml, and I just went ahead and bought it because it was my birthday actually. So that's what was going on. And I remember smelling this at the very beginning of my fragrance journey. Literally what got me into it is I heard somebody raving about Lost Cherry by Tom Ford. And I never realized fragrance could be so complex before. I just knew about Bath & Body Works, and I knew about the fragrance section of Sephora. I used to work at Sephora, and I feel like the fragrances we had were so boring. Like, all we had were, you know, the classics, like Bright Crystal and whatever. And I liked that fragrance, but I didn't know that there were interesting fragrances that had layers to them. So when I heard somebody talking about the deep cherry and the liquor and the sexiness of it, I had to go sniff it at Nordstrom. And I think I was so early in my fragrance journey that I was sleeping on it. I was just kind of like, that's expensive and it's not even that good and whatever. And I just kind of forgot about it. Well, recently I bought a sample on Mercari and I was obsessed. Like, this is the most gorgeous sour cherry fragrance. And I have a lot to say about Tom Ford in general, but it's stunning. Like, it's sour cherry. The liquor is not overwhelming. Almond, which I love almond. Plum, rose, jasmine, tonka bean, vanilla, cinnamon. I do get a little bit of that cinnamon now that I think about it. I never noticed that in there. There's also cloves, sandalwood, benzoin, cedar, patchouli, vetiver. Like, it's a lot. This cap, you guys, I feel like I always have my dishwasher running when I'm filming videos. But anyways, you guys, I was just wrapping up about Lost Cherry. The longevity is terrible. I don't necessarily, like, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't recommend you buy it unless you're balling or unless you got some money as a gift like I did for my birthday or something like that, because it is just so expensive for the quality of the longevity. But I will say it's hard to get a fragrance that is like this. It's just so unique and has so many facets to it. There are dupes. Yeah, that is Lost Cherry, and that concludes the end of this haul video. So let me know if you guys have any of these fragrances, and I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye.